This is George from High Tech Legion. Over the years, in my reviews and writings, I've always tried to stress never to skimp out on your power supply. Too many times we see people trying to put together a $2,000 build and throwing in a $50 no-name power supply. The power supply is really the heart and soul of your system. It is responsible for a lot of what goes on as far as performance, and especially has a lot to do with the longevity of your system. So I've always recommended use a top name power supply. Today we're taking a look at a piece from High Power. Now High Power may not be a household name, however they are the retail arm of Surfa, who is one of the most respected OEMs out there on the market right now. Surfa has done OEM work and manufactured for many top names, and they have been the leader of 80+ certifications since day one. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Astro GD-750 watt, which is a 750 watt gold power supply, semi-modular, featuring a 12 volt single rail. Taking a look at the Astro High Power 750. First off, let's start with the front. You've got black and gold color scheme, as you can see, going on here with the High Power logo right in the front. Black grille, very distinctive black grille, one we haven't seen used before on a power supply unit. You can see the white fan in the background, 135mm ball bearing fan. Very interesting semi-passive power supply, or I should say semi-passive fan controller used. Under 25% fan is inactive, keeping the power supply completely quiet. It can get away with this due to some very good passive cooling internally. When the load is over 25%, fan is going to spin up and cool the power supply accordingly. This works out very well keeping noise down, also works out very well in cooling the unit. Now, as we had said, it's a semi-modular power supply, so as you can see on the rear of the unit, we have got 4 inputs for the SATA floppy peripheral connectors and 2 PCI Express headers right here. And coming off of the unit itself, we've got some nicely sleeved cable, black sleeving, with shrink tubing at the ends, and you've got your 24-pin, 8-pin, a 4+4, and 1 PCI Express 6+2. That can actually be used if your motherboard has a PCI Express in for extra added power, or if you're using a single card with only a single input, obviously. Moving around, High Power embossed right on the top. On one side we have got spec sheet with the Astro GD-750 and single rail 12 volt, as you can see, 744 watts. Very nice looking specs right there, 130 combined on the 5 volt and the 3.3. So specs out very well, 80+ gold certification right there. Over on the other side, you've got the Astro GD logo, which is actually screened on. It is not a sticker. And on the back, it's a little interesting. Got your power and your power on-off switch, and you also have a series of LEDs right here. This is actually an active power meter which goes across, also where it takes the Astro name from. So as your unit is powering up, it's actually going to give you a readout of percentage load that is going through the unit at that time. Light, moderate, and heavy usage laid out right there. A couple of other interesting features on the High Power Astro GD. It does use a DC to DC converter for the minor rails, the 5 volt and 3.3. Also digital VRM, so it does give you very stable, concise power under any load. Taking a look at the accessories with the Astro GD. First, we have the user's manual. The Astro GD and Astro PT share a user's manual. Basic, nicely done user's manual in quite a few different languages, actually, with full spec chart right in the back for each of the 4 power supplies that use the manual. Next, got our cable case and cables, and I'm sure some of you just said, hey, wait a second, I know that cable case. As I say, Surf has been making power supplies for quite a few manufacturers in the past. High Power decal with screws, mounting screws, and it's a flat modular cable system. As you can see, flat ribbon. Total of 10 SATA connectors, four pins, 4 PCI Express 6+2, and 1 floppy connector. But I've used these cables in the past, and they are really the best flat cable I've ever found to work with. One of the nice things being on all of your 4 pins, you've got a press to lock and unlock on the 4 pin, so you really don't have to struggle with it. You never have to pull by the cable, try and grasp the connector itself, which can sometimes be a little bit of a pain, and you can just actually grab right there. It's actually a very nice cable setup. Good power cable included as well. And floppy is actually off of one of the 4 pins. So as you can see, you get a very nice cable set. Great flat ribbon cables, very easy to work with. Nice semi-modular setup from High Power. Looking at the benchmarks, the Astro GD-750 definitely held its own. It had absolutely no problems up near its peak wattage. As you see, on any of the rails, the minor rails were very, very good across the board. And the 12 volt never dipped below 12.02, nor did it run hot at idle, running it only at 12.19. So, very good performance. Now, as far as noise goes, the fan did spin up. It did become audible, but wasn't terribly audible, so definitely not on the latter end of power supplies, but not the quietest I've heard either. Pretty much average as far as noise goes when under complete load. Now, when idling and doing normal tasks, it's almost imperceptible. I don't think I ever heard the power supply come up over any of the case fans, so definitely a very quiet power supply. So while High Power may not be a familiar name to you, it is definitely a name worth considering if you're looking at a new build. Especially with the current leaning towards black and gold color schemes, the Astro GD-750 may well suit your needs very well.